we're going to move into the frothy mixture himself.
Oh.
And we have two from him tonight because he was on a certain show. I don't remember what the fuck it was called, and I'm not going to plug it on here anyway because I only plug the shows I like. But he was on a show, and you have to hear what he's going to talk about with the Supreme Court and DOMA because, you know, as president, that means you get to be senior dictator, as you know, President Obama has shown us. That's a joke, people. It's a fucking
DOMA
joke.
is done.
DOMA
is done. It's been proven that allowing openly gay people to serve in the military has not harmed a goddamn thing, and it doesn't fucking affect anything. It's done.
That was a DADT. DOMA is the Defense of Marriage Act.
Yes. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yep. So let's hear what he has to say.
The courts decided that now they're the great arbiter. They're the great supreme legislature. And that they're going to solve all these problems out here instead of dealing with the case before them, dealing with the issues as limited as possible to resolve the case.
Okay, so before he gets too far into there, the courts are not the ones who legislate jack shit.
Right, and they never have.
That's
and
the legislative
don't.
branch, you fucking civics failing retard.
But that's what they do.
But
you heard the arena. We don't need lawyers arguing over laws. I'm like, that's what lawyers do.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's a very valuable thing that they do. But no, we don't need that.
And like Kyle just said, an arbiter is a fucking judge. You know, that's the purpose of what their job is to arbitrate shit and so to arby shit. You know, I need my big beef and cheddar. So, yeah, he said they're the extreme legislation. Yeah, no, they're
the supreme
legislation.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
You have three branches there, Rick, and they each do their own thing: executive, legislative, and judicial. You know, balance of power. You know, the shit was set up as a good system back in the day. You might learn something if you actually paid attention there, Ricky. Okay, so let's hear what he has to say because obviously he's mad about gay marriage.
That's gone, and that's created this problem. So when you hear me say, as I will, that I think it is the role of the president to put the court back in the position it should, which is not the final arbiter, not the creator of all these rights, not the inventor or the amender of the Constitution. I don't do so.
Wait.
What?
The inventor or the amender of the Constitution?
The president proposes laws.
He's the one that signs them into existence once they come from the House and the Senate, you know.
Yeah, but this president, the biggest part of the president is to
have a vision,
propose laws, which technically any citizen can do.
Yeah,
but it means more coming from the desk on high, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
the president has a lot more resources to formulate laws than the average citizen. I'm just saying.
And it's the court's rule. It's their job. The courts, the Supreme Court, whatever you want to say. And I know he's just pussyfooting around here, but he's pissed off about gay marriage and how they said that it's legal. That was already a goddamn amendment to the Constitution. It was already there. You can't discriminate against people. They just made it so that it said that it's not just race, it's not just gender. It's sexual preference too, you know, or their identity. Sexual identity is more like it, but you can't discriminate against people. Is the fucking hallstone there? It's the main thing. You cannot discriminate.
Right. The judicial branch. Their whole purpose is to interpret and settle arguments. When the legislative branch passes a law, and a citizen says, "Hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
This doesn't work. I think this is unconstitutional." They file suit against that law to say this is either unjust or illegal or unconstitutional. And the judicial branch looks at it and says, "You're right or you're wrong."
Yeah.
They don't change laws. They either
clarify
or uphold them.
They take out the opacity. They take away the cloudiness from it.
Yeah.
Because when shit is passed by legislative branches and executive branches, there are all sorts of questions that come up. Exactly how we've had shit with like Obamacare that came up. You know?
Yeah.
People had questions and they went, okay, well, the wording's vague here on this part of the bill. Maybe we can eke this by. And then the Supreme Court says, no.
Because
No.
when they were setting up this form of government, they realized that the people who were writing and passing the laws were probably not the best people to then decide whether or not there was a problem with them.
Yep.
Because that would entail admitting you're
Oh my
wrong.
god, it sounds like you're talking about a system of checks and balances.
Oh my god! It's
Oh my
like
gosh.
it's a thing.
It is a
that they
thing.
did.
It has been a thing for a long fucking time. And this guy is running for fucking president.
This guy
He's
was he
unsuccessfully running for president because he's still in the bottom 4.
no, I can't remember. Was he a senator or was he a congressman? I can't remember. I mean, it doesn't matter. He was in the legislative branch, so he should understand how this works.
I confuse him and Rick Perry oftentimes. So I don't know if he was a governor and then maybe into something else.
He
or
wasn't
whatever.
a governor. I know he was in the House of the Senate for Pennsylvania, I believe. But yeah, I just can't remember right now which side of the house he was on. But that's pretty much irrelevant.
And to go blueberries
Because
here,
he was in there.
only because I think it's funny to talk about. You know, he's super Catholic. You know, you also have on the other end of the spectrum of super Catholics, you have Stephen Colbert.
Yep.
Which is pretty interesting if you think about it. Like, how do these two people
Stephen
have the
Colbert
same...
is actually more representative of the way Catholics actually are.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Because that's the way most Catholics actually are, where they're just like,
who gives a fuck? It's what I believe. I don't give a shit if you believe it or not.
like most Catholics really just are not out to give a fuck about anything.
I really enjoyed the Simpsons episode where Bart and Homer almost became Catholic from going to a spaghetti dinner. That shit was funny as hell. And besides, you had Qui-Gon Jinn doing the voice of the priest. On it. Pretty funny. Let's see. So let's hear what else Santorum has to say, because that's 35 seconds, and we've milked it for 7 fucking minutes. I love this segment. Love it.
I have the desire to grab power and authority. I do so because the court has decided that they are going to exert themselves and become a disproportionate voice on the national stage.
They did it, so I'm going to do
The
it.
majority of people are okay with gay marriage.
I'm going to have to find a different picture. I'm tired of looking at fucking Pat Robertson here. If I get a good enough computer, I can actually do the video, which would be great. But anyway.
One that our founders never intended, and one that's not good for our country or for a republic to begin with. So the answer to your question is that by way of background. When they have exceeded their authority and acted outside of the Constitution, it is incumbent upon the president to do something about it.
They didn't act outside their authority. They did exactly what they're supposed to do.
Well, and what the fuck is the president going to do? You know, once the bill is signed into law, he doesn't have shit to do with it unless he wants to pass some sort of overreaching executive order.
Yeah.
And even then, you know, he would be facing a bunch of shitstorms, especially when it comes to gay marriage rulings. Could you imagine if fucking Santorum made it to be president, and he made an executive order saying we're going to put a stay on all this stuff and you can no longer get married? How unlikely his ever going to be elected for shit ever again would be.
That's because people had stopped giving a fuck about gay marriage. Seriously.
Because it happened. And guess what? Nothing fucking happened.
Yeah.
Nobody got raptured that I know of. Nobody ended up dead because of it. You know, my marriage doesn't mean less. In fact, it means
the world
more.
did not collapse. It's pretty fucking amazing how
my marriage means more than it did before, because it used to be like marriage was only guys and girls, and now it's like everybody can get married. So it's like it's fucking great that everybody can get married. Hooray! And I fucking love teaching my kids that boys can marry boys and girls can marry girls.
Mm-hmm.
That's silly, Daddy. I'm like, nope, that's for real. And because when they learn this thing and they go tell their older people that they hang out with every once in a while that my dad says it's okay that boys can marry boys and girls can marry girls, I can just see the seething anger in the back of their mind. That fucking atheists. He's bringing these kids up with a shitty worldview. No, I'm bringing my kids up with a great fucking worldview. They're going to be so fucking well-rounded that your kids are going to be working for mine. So go fuck yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm done with this Santorum thing. Unless anybody wants to hear more, because we've gone
No.
we've gone
No.
like another 10 minutes with this. Anyway, he ultimately wants to say that he would ignore the Supreme Court and
Mhm.
enforce the Defense of Marriage Act.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
because
That's
you absolutely have that power as president to do those two things.
except for you don't, not at all.
No,
Not
we
even
don't. We
a-
don't live in fucking Baghdad, people. This isn't Saddam Hussein. Dictatorships rarely work in this country, and if it was a dictatorship, people have tried to correct that stuff in the past. I'm not saying that Abe Lincoln was a dictator or JFK was a dictator, but people in this country are crazy fucking enough that if somebody is doing something they don't like to most of an extent, they will usually do something about it.
Yep.
Which is why I think that a lot of the shit that people are saying against Obama is mostly bluster.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you had a
It
real
is.
fucking problem with it, maybe one of you guys would have done something fucking stupid about it. Or maybe they haven't.
Oh,
We just haven't heard about it.
You
I don't
mean
know.
like take over a wildlife
We're gonna
refuge?
get to that. That is our main topic we're gonna get to.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.